Good afternoon, foodies, you gorgeous lot. How are we doing? Welcome to my kitchen here in beautiful Bedford. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Charlotte White, and some of you will probably know me from the Cake and Desserts Theatre at Foodies Festival. I have the best job in the whole world. I get to travel the country with amazing chefs, and we cook up delicious things for you and share them with you. Obviously, we are staying at home at the moment and we are staying safe, and as soon as possible, as soon as it is safe, we really want to come and see you again. But in the meantime, I've taken my fabulous job online and I'm going to be sharing some recipes with you from my own kitchen, which I hope you'll enjoy. You'll be able to cook along with me if you like. If not, just sit back and relax and get the foodies experience and chill out in your own home, and I'll do all of the hard work here. Now, as and when we do hit the road again, I'm very pleased to tell you that we will now be known as the Berry People Theatre, and we will be cooking using some amazing, delicious berries cooked by British growers, perfectly in season, which is obviously something that we are very passionate about at Foodies. And that is the star of the show today. That's what I'm going to be using to cook for you. I'm going to be making Victoria Sweet Blackberry Blondies. Yeah, that got a thumbs up. I wish so much I could share this with you at the end, so you will have to make this at home. After this demo, I will share the full recipe with you so that you can make this at home and enjoy it. When you go to the supermarket, you're going to need to look for these. These are the berries that I'm using today. These are Victoria Sweet Blackberries. Now, this is very important. They are a different type of blackberry. They're a premium type of blackberry. You know me, I don't give you any rubbish here. You know, you always get the good stuff with me. These are a premium blackberry. They're in season at the moment. They're in the supermarkets and they're grown by British growers. When you go to the supermarket and you buy a punnet of blackberries, you can look on the packet and it will have the information. It will have the variety, and you're looking for Victoria. It might say Victoria Sweet, but it will most likely just say Victoria to save on space. And these are the ones that you're looking for. I don't know if you remember picking blackberries when you were a kid, but I never got any this big. Can you see how big that is? It's huge. They're at least double the size of your regular blackberry that you go foraging for in the hedgerows. Twice the size, and they are incredibly sweet. And you know me, I've got a sweet tooth. They're healthy, okay? We'll get onto all the health benefits later. They've got loads of incredible health benefits that knock blueberries out of the water. But I am going to be putting them in a blondie. So this is going to be lovely. It sits really nicely against the vanilla flavours that we're going to get coming through from white chocolate and a little bit of vanilla as well. I'm going to get started because the first job I need to do is actually need to burn some butter on purpose, which with an audience is a frankly terrifying thing, and doing it on a camping stove is even more fun. So thank you for the thumbs up. Your support means the world to me, because you know this is no mean feat. Right, there we go. Oh, it's on. I can confirm it is on. Brilliant. So in my pan, I've got 200 grams of unsalted butter. That's it there. If I could get a higher up camera so that you could see in the pan, I would. But this is, you know, we're a little bit punk rock here, I'm afraid. So, you know, you're going to have to trust me, and I will show you what's happening. The important thing to remember when you're burning butter is you need to keep it moving, hence my balloon whisk. If you leave the butter to burn on its own, what will happen is after it's melted and turned into its lovely liquid melted butter, oh yeah, lots of hearts for melted butter, the fats, the solids in the fat separate from the liquid, and the solids all rise to the top, which is, you know, fine. It looks kind of gross, but that's what's happening. So the fats all come to the top, but then what happens is they fall, hit the bottom of the pan, and they all burn. And that's why you end up with little bits of burnt bit in your burnt butter or your burnt noisette. nutty butter. So you have to keep it moving. It takes a little while for the change to happen. At the moment, the stage I'm at is just melted butter, and if I tip that any further towards you, there's going to be an accident. So once you get past melted butter, it does start to change within the next couple of minutes. And you go through this kind of colour spectrum, through gold into what you're looking for is kind of a cup of tea colour, you know, before you've added the milk, obviously. That kind of brown colour. And you know you're done when you start to smell a kind of nutty smell, which is, you know, beurre noisette, you know, nutty butter, which is what we're after. And the reason we're doing this is to add that extra note of flavour into these blondies. Now, I don't know about you, I do have a really sweet tooth, but I do sometimes find that I have a problem with blondies because they're so sweet. Burning the butter like this and giving it that slightly nutty undertone, I find takes away just a little bit of that sickly sweetness about a blondie. And it's a really nice, it's a nice thing to be able to do. Plus this, if you can nail this, you know, think of all the amazing recipes you'll be able to make, all those beautiful sauces and things you'll be able to make. So what's happened now is my butter's gone kind of, it's got little bubbles in it, it's clearly heating up, it's all melted, but I am keeping this moving the whole time on the heat. Partly because, should I tell you the truth here? I've not done this on the camping stove before, so we're going to have to kind of hope for the best. I thought it would be better to do it like this, so you know we can chat rather than I stand with my back to you and do it at the actual oven over there. Now, when the butter has browned, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it onto my white chocolate to melt the white chocolate I'm using for my blondies. In the recipe, I say that you should use a 35% white chocolate. Now, the percentage given in chocolate is the percentage of cocoa, okay? And with white chocolate, you're looking at mostly cocoa butters and cocoa fats, which is why it doesn't behave as well as... has my stove gone out? My stove's gone out. You guys didn't tell me that. There we go. Hang on. There we go. You have to tell me these things, guys. I'd be stirring this all day and we'd never get any blondies made. So back to, right, 35% for the white chocolate. The higher the cocoa percentage you have in your chocolate, the better it will behave when you're cooking it. So white chocolate, having a very high fat content, tends to do things like it will split. It does horrible things. I mean, you must have had this happen when you've been melting white chocolate and it's kind of gone sort of this horrible sort of, again, separated out. So you've got the solid fats separated from the liquid fats, and it's completely unusable. Right, okay, we've still got some heat on. This is good. It's bubbling nicely. We're going to have magic soon. So my white chocolate is 35% white chocolate. And it should behave nicely. This is bubbling really quite fiercely. This is amazing. But remember, keep your butter moving. Keep an eye on it, because the last thing we want to happen is for it to end up with those horrible burnt bits. I had one of those real kitchen disasters when I was learning to burn butter. So funny. So I got a few burnt bits in my butter and I thought, it's fine, it's fine. I'll put it through a sieve. I'll put it through a sieve and sieve out all the burnt bits. But I poured it through a plastic sieve and I melted the sieve into my white chocolate. It was not one of my finest moments, I must say. But this is the perfect time, you know, while we're in lockdown, while we're stuck inside, it's a great time to get in your kitchen and to perhaps try a technique that you've been a bit nervous of doing before. Maybe you haven't had the time to. You don't have the time to sort of experiment in the kitchen. Now is the time to be doing that. Thank you for your little laughs there. I do miss you all, I must say. It's not quite the same doing this just to my iPad. Normally I have your lovely faces in front of me. I hope that as and when it's safe to all come out and to get together and to make some food, I hope you will come and see me, because I've missed you all so much. Right, this is starting to turn. We are not far off that. This is such a workout, it's amazing. Victoria's Sweet Blackberries, by the way, excellent fuel for a workout. Like I was saying, they give blueberries a run for their money. They're packed full of vitamin C, and they are packed full of fibre as well, the kind of thing that really keeps you going if you've been working out at home. You've been doing Joe Wicks? Anyone been doing the old Joe Wicks workouts at home? Oh, this is great. Okay, we are nearly there. Oh my goodness. So it's starting to smell. I'm starting to get that lovely nutty smell. I'm keeping the butter moving because we don't want the fats to separate. The heat is still on, I'm just checking. It's gone golden now, and we are very nearly at cup of tea stage. So like I said, it only takes a few minutes, and that, my friends, is it. So, heat goes off. Brown butter here. If you leave it in the pan, what's going to happen? It's going to keep cooking. So we're going to take it straight from the pan and pour it onto the white chocolate. So you'll be able to see the colour of this butter now. Can you see that? It's a beautiful golden brown colour. And that, oh, I'm so glad. It's not much fun doing that with an audience, but the smell of it, it's beautifully nutty, and the heat from the butter is going to melt my white chocolate. So jobs are good and don't have to worry about anything else there. Right, camping stove is done with. That's always good fun. It's great to have a camping stove that matches the kitchen. It's completely by accident. You know me, everything I buy is red. So it does help. It does help somewhat. Right. Okay, right, we're good to get moving now. If you've been cooking along at home, I hope that your butter behaved. I hope that it didn't burn, and I hope that you're happy to move on. If by some awful incident your butter didn't behave itself and it's burnt, sit down, chill out, pour yourself a glass of something cold because it's hot outside, and have a go later. I'll put the whole recipe up for you, like I said. So we've got the brown butter melting the white chocolate. I'll put that over there. What I've got in my mixer here is 300 grams of light muscovado sugar. And to that I'm going to add in 3 large eggs. There we go. Never add your eggs into a mixing mixer. I'm sure you've seen that happen a few times at Foodies when we've dropped an egg in, which is always highly embarrassing. But it does happen. There we go. Right, last egg goes in. Easy peasy. And then let's get this moving round. What we're after with the sugar and the eggs is for it to go nice and light. So we'll let that do its thing over here. I hope you can hear me over the mix, are you all right? So we'll let those start to go nice and light and pale while I deal with my beautiful Victoria's Sweet Blackberries. These are great for snacking. If, like me, you found that since being in lockdown, you're kind of going to the fridge more. And I work from home anyway, so I have no excuse. But something like a beautiful Victoria's Sweet Blackberry keeps you going. Now, because these are so large, I'm going to cut them in half because they are huge. And they'll go a bit further as well. I've got 150 grams of Victoria's Sweet Blackberries, and I'll show you them when they're all cut so you can see how juicy they are. Lovely, really, really lovely. Try and not get it all over my frock. Wonderful. How's this looking here? If I turn this up, is that going to be really annoying? I'll do it for a second. Oh, the joy of a noisy mixer, right? Okay, let's get these cut up. You see, there's so many things to do with berries rather than the usual things that we're all used to. I mean, I'm as guilty of this as the next person. You know, blackberries, I think of them as autumn. They're really not. They're in season now. It's May. I think of them as autumn. I think of them as apple and blackberry crumble. That's it. That's all I've got. But there are so many amazing flavour pairings with blackberries, and they're a great way with anything sweet, really sweet, like a blondie, or those kind of desserts, very, very light, sweet desserts. They're a great way of cutting through because they've got a sharpness that's almost a spice kind of note that they bring to your bakes or your not bakes or your cooking. I mean, these great and savoury dishes as well. Really lovely with a salad. Excellent. Right, got those all cut up. That's lightened a little bit. I'm happy with that. So we've got our beautiful cut up Victoria Sweet blackberries, and I'll come and show these to you because hopefully you'll be able to see them. Oh, there we go. Getting the light right in here is always tricky. So they are super juicy. Can you see all of that? Oh, Lucy, what I'd give for a KitchenAid, she says. I have to be honest with you. They are worth the investment. They really, really are. Maybe good thing to ask for a big Christmas present. Maybe if everybody clubs in, comes together. And they're often in the sale. I got my first KitchenAid in the Selfridges sale. I felt very fancy, but you know, they really discounted it. And we had to walk it from Selfridges to our car, and it my poor husband, it's very heavy. They are very heavy machines, so think about that if you do buy one. I must say, that's my advice. Okay, so we've now got our muscovado sugar and eggs beaten together, nice and light. I'm happy with that. I've got 200 grams of plain flour here. I'm really sorry if you're having trouble getting hold of flour. I've got top tips, okay? So I've got some top tips for flour. A lot of supermarkets put flour on the bottom shelf. I guess it's because the bags are heavy. That's what someone suggested to me as perhaps being the reason. And because they're on the bottom shelf, you often can't see to the back of the shelf when you're walking past. So have no shame, get down on your hands and knees, and if you look, sometimes there's a bag of flour that's sort of been pushed to the back and no one can see it when they're walking past. And I have had more than one bag of flour by doing that. You know, you look very strange, but it's worth it. It's worth it for flour. Also, try smaller shops. So everyone's going to the supermarkets. Everyone's going, you know, early in the morning and cleaning them out. But try your corner shop, try an independent shop. In Bedford we have a zero waste shop called The Store, and they always have flour, every type of flour, including gluten-free and bread flour as well. So think outside the box. There is flour out there, it's just being mindswept off the supermarket shelves. Pinch of salt, always in a sweet bake. Does something wonderful to your mouth, makes your mouth water. Always good, chuck that in. Same with vanilla, that's effectively our seasoning for sweet bakes. Bit of vanilla in there as well to go with the salt. That's a pinch of salt and a teaspoon of vanilla. Excellent. I'll give that a quick turn around. Just to combine it, don't want to overwork it, but at the same time, just make sure there's no sort of big pockets of flour or anything in there. With all of these recipes, by the way, that I'm going to be sharing with you, you can scale them up and scale them down. So this one this week, I've been very generous and I've done the full whack, the full blondie. You can do half all the amounts and make a slightly smaller blondie, especially if there's only a couple of you at home and you don't need loads and loads of blondies. They do freeze though, which is why I've done the big amount, because I like to have a freezer full of baked goods for emergencies. Next week I'm going to be making some muffins, and I'm actually going to do the half version, so we're only going to make 6 because they kind of need eating on the day, and I couldn't get rid of a dozen muffins in a day. I would try, but I couldn't do it. So you can scale up and scale down and they will work. Just a little bit of maths. So that's third in, I'm happy with that. Let's have a look at our white chocolate and our nutty butter. I mean, that colour, can you see? It looks like a cup of tea. It really does. Look at that. Looks like I've poured a cup of tea. The diet version. Yes, half the amount. And the great thing about making half the amount is you can have twice as much. That's a very old joke. So let's give this a little stir in It should have all melted really nicely, this chocolate. Oh yes, look at that. So, oh, the smell of it, the smell of white chocolate and nutty butter, it's heaven, heavenly. The 35% white chocolate I'm using here is from Food Thoughts. You can get that in Waitrose and in Sainsbury's as well, and I've used a whole pack of it, so I've used 150 grams. I try where I can to use the amount that you would get, so you don't end up with sort of bits and pieces or have to buy an extra packet just to use a couple of little bits. I think blackberries normally come in about 150 grams, so that should, hopefully you won't end up with any waste. Not that you'd ever waste any food, would you guys? I hope you don't. I hope this lockdown experience, if anything comes from it that's positive, I hope that it's that you think a little bit more about the food that you're bringing in. We are terrible in this country for wasting food, and not being able to nip to the supermarket. I'm a nipper, me. Are you guys as well? You think, what should we have for tea tonight? Okay, I'm going to nip out and get that one thing that we need. Now we're having to think, right, okay, we're going shopping for the week, and it's like being back in the 80s and being back in my childhood. It's incredible. You know, we're actually doing this big shop, and it's terrifying. Does anyone have that moment when they tell you how much you've spent and you have a kind of a palpitation thinking, how have I spent that much money? But then you realise you're probably spending more when you're going several times a week and you see something that takes your fancy here and there, and oh, I'm awful for it. But I'm hoping, you know, that when we come out of this, perhaps we'll think a little bit more about the food that we're buying and using it all, eating it all. With berries as well, remember you can freeze them. They freeze beautifully. Blackberries, raspberries freeze beautifully. Strawberries, unless you want to make jam with them, because they just go to mush. I froze so many strawberries before I realised that was not a good day. So there's absolutely no reason to waste anything ever. Eat it all. Okay, so we've now got, that's our sort of our brownie mixes, Blondie. Our Blondie mix is in there. I'm going to add in the gorgeous now melted white chocolate in nutty butter. So much nicer than beurre noisette, isn't it? I think nutty butter sounds, it's just gorgeous. Sounds really lovely. So I'll pour this in to the mixer. There's a few little lumps of white chocolate that I've not melted completely in there, but that's fine. It all comes out in the wash anyway. It's all good. There we go. Right, let's get that in. Okay, and give this a turn around. This becomes the most incredible batter. Really, really delicious. The smell in here, I just wish so much I could throw smells through the iPad. Delicious. I've lined a tin. It says my brownie tin. You can use whatever you've got. If you've only got a round cake tin, there is no law that says that a brownie can't be round, or a blondie even. I'm getting confused in my old age here. So that's fine. Whatever you've got is fine. I've lined this, and don't worry about lining square rectangle tins. Don't lose your head over it. All you need to do is just two long bits. So I've got a long bit that way and a long bit that way, and press them in. Dead easy. That's what we like. So now we have our blondie mixture here. It's all looking really, really good. Don't want to waste any. Let's get it all in the bowl. For folks who are cooking along at home, I hope yours is looking something like this. If you're feeling good about it. There we go. Right. I'm trying to be clean in here. I'm trying to be even cleaner than I am at Foodies, you see, because this is my kitchen and I've got to clean all of it. There we go. So we've got blondie mix. Oh, yummy, yummy, yummy. And the final thing to go in is the star of the show, our Victoria's Sweet blackberries. And what will happen is when we stir these in, we're going to get a little bit of that lovely colour from the juice. I mean, it looks like, this is going to stain. It looks like Sweeney Todd at the moment, you know, sort of these lovely sort of juicy blackberries. Oh, look at that. Wonderful. Excellent. Let's give these a stir in. And I am going to give them just a little bit, I'm being perhaps a little bit violent with them because, you know, if a couple of them happen to break up and let that lovely purple juice loose, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. It's really, really gorgeous. Look at that. Excellent. So we now have Blondie mix all done. Beautiful Victoria Sweet blackberries in there. Let's get this into our tin. Yum. Oh my goodness. Remember, like I said, these are in season now, so they are in the supermarkets. Look for Victoria. There we go. Oof. This is super sticky. It's just, the reason I keep getting confused is because it is so much like a brownie. It's just done with white chocolate rather than with dark chocolate. And if you're anything like this house, I do have the Milky Bar kid here. My husband loves white chocolate. So these are going to go down an absolute treat. Now this recipe makes 16, okay? 16 very good slabs of Blondie. There we go. So there's plenty to keep you fed. And because they freeze, you know, if you do want to make the full batch, don't worry about any of them going off. Just freeze half of them, eat half, and defrost the rest later in the week when you're done. Perfect with a cup of tea, or a cheeky beverage, perhaps. There we go. Right, now, so we now have that beautiful Blondie in its tin, ready to bake, and this is going to go in a 160 degree preheated oven, and it will need about 35 to 40 minutes to be done. So it's a nice slow bake. Let's get that in here. Wonderful. See, we are really cooking here. It's just like foodies. It really is. And then when they are done, they come out of the oven, and here we have the ones I made earlier. Shall I come show you? Look at that. Ooh, ooh. Look at that. I bet Helen's mouth is watering there. Helen, look at these. They are unbelievably tasty. I've put a few of the beautiful Victoria Sweet blackberries there just to dress the board and make it look pretty, and also just again to show off how enormous they are. I mean, look, these are like little Marge Simpson haircuts. They're enormous, like a beehive. Incredible, they really are. Now I'm going to be here next Saturday as well, same time, 2 o'clock in my kitchen. And I'm going to show you another recipe using another type of berry from our friends at Berry People. Remember, we're the Berry People Theatre now. It's going to be so exciting when we all get together. I cannot wait for you to try all of this stuff. But next week I'm going to be making some breakfast muffins. And I think more than ever, yeah, a little treat at breakfast at the weekend. Because sometimes it can be hard at the moment telling the difference between the week and the weekend, can't it? So what day is it? Who knows? So having something to look forward to at the weekend, like a beautiful breakfast muffin, is, I think, something really special. And what I'm going to be using for those muffins are these. Now, these are gorgeous. These are Maravilla raspberries. I don't know if it's Maravilla or Maravilla. We'll decide between us at some point. But Maravilla, that's how they're spelled, with V-I-L-L-A, Maravilla. These raspberries, look at those. They match the kitchen so wonderfully, don't they? Look at those. These are, again, very, very big, very sweet, very juicy. I had some the other day just with some yogurt because they were gorgeous, and I couldn't resist them, and they are unbelievable. Again, these are British grown, they're in season, very early in the season. You are going to love these. You are going to absolutely love these. And my breakfast muffins, I'm going to be making the Maravilla raspberry and yogurt breakfast muffins, and They're just one of those things that's better the day that you make them. So we're going to be making a small amount. We'll be making a half dozen rather than a dozen, and you'll be able to eat them for your breakfast. They take no time at all. They are so, so lovely. I want to thank you so much for coming and joining me today. It's been such a pleasure to have you in the kitchen. Thank you so much for all your comments. I will read them afterwards. I'm terribly short-sighted, so I will reply afterwards, I promise. And thank you for all of your hearts and your thumbs ups, because I can see them flying up the screen, and that means the absolute world to me. I will share this recipe very shortly with you on the Foodies Facebook page right here. So keep it here, keep an eye out, that will come out. And then on Wednesday, I'll share with you all the ingredients you need if you want to bake along with me on Saturday when I make the Maravilla raspberry and yogurt breakfast muffins. And so you can join in there. If not, just come back. I'll keep you company. We'll have a really lovely time. So until we see each other next week, my darlings, please stay safe, stay home, and stay gorgeous. And I'll see you later. Take care, foodies. See you later. Oh, thank you again for your comments. You're so lovely. Mwah, mwah, mwah. See you later.